Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. In a surprising turn of events this offseason, the Miami Dolphins traded away superstar cornerback Jalen Ramsey to the Pittsburgh Steelers, sending shockwaves through the fanbase and leaving a glaring hole in the secondary for most teams. Losing a player of Ramsey's caliber would spell trouble, but for the Dolphins, it has opened the door for one of their most relentless and underrated players to step into the spotlight. Kader Kohou, now entering his fourth season in the NFL. Kohou has made it clear he's ready to lead. The departure of both Ramsey and safety Jevon Holland, who signed with the New York Giants, has left Miami's defensive backfield in flux. Veteran free agents Jordan Poyer and Kendall Fuller are still unsigned, creating an opportunity but also a challenge. Kohou has already sent a clear message to the coaching staff. He's ready to embrace the leadership mantle and rally this youthful group behind him. Kohou's journey is nothing short of inspiring, coming out of Texas A&M Commerce, a school far from the national spotlight. He entered the NFL as an undrafted free agent, a long shot in a league obsessed with pedigree and draft status. Yet, despite the odds, he quickly carved out a role with the Dolphins, earning respect with his gritty play, physical style, and relentless work ethic. In his own words, he now feels responsible for passing that same mentality on. "I've got to show the younger guys how it's done, like Ramsey and Xavier Howard did," Kohou told the Miami Herald, and those words weren't just for show. Kohou has been one of the most vocal and active players during voluntary workouts, staying late after practice, studying film with rookies, and making himself available for questions. He's not just talking about leadership, he's living it every day. This isn't just about attitude or mentorship. Kohou has the numbers to back up his growing status within the team. After a somewhat inconsistent start to 2023, he rebounded in 2024 with 45 tackles to interceptions and a respectable 68.9 coverage grade according to Pro Football Focus. These aren't Pro Bowl numbers, but they're solid, and more importantly, they show growth. Kohou knows that with Ramsey and Holland gone, there's more pressure on him than ever before. But instead of shrinking from that pressure, he's embracing it. "I need more interceptions, more plays," he said candidly. He wants to be the guy who doesn't just lead by words, but by consistent on-field excellence. For a secondary filled with question marks, Kohou's consistency could become the cornerstone of Miami's pass defense. Let's talk about those question marks. The current Dolphins secondary is filled with names that even hardcore fans might struggle to recognize. There's Storm Duck and Ethan Bonner, two undrafted players who flash potential but haven't yet been tested under real fire. Then there's Jason Marshall Jr., a fifth-round pick with great size and speed, but also the typical rookie learning curve. Kem Smith, a second-rounder in 2023, is still something of a mystery after 21 games without a single interception or start. Veterans like Artie Burns and Kendall Sheffield bring experience, but their best days may be behind them. This is the group that Kohou is being asked to lead, a mix of potential and inexperience, with little proven production to fall back on. It's a tall order, but one that he's tackling with enthusiasm and confidence. What's fascinating is how Kohou is channeling the legacy of the Dolphins' historic no-name defense from 1972, that unit, remembered not for household names, but for collective toughness and unity, is the perfect inspiration for this current crop of unknowns. Kohou's message is clear: forget the stars, forget the headlines, let's go out there and play as one. That attitude is already rubbing off. Multiple younger players have cited Kohou as their go-to mentor during the offseason, and inside the locker room, coaches have praised his vocal leadership and ability to keep the unit focused and hungry. That hunger, as Kohou puts it, may be their most valuable asset. "You can feel the hunger in our room," he said, with conviction that only someone who's been through it can express. There's another intriguing layer to this secondary. The return of Minkah Fitzpatrick, made possible through the Ramsey trade. While primarily a safety, Fitzpatrick has the ability to move around the formation, including slotting in at cornerback in certain packages. His versatility is a huge asset, and it gives Miami's defense some creative flexibility. With Kohou solidifying one side, Fitzpatrick's presence could allow for exotic coverages and disguised blitzes, keeping opposing offenses guessing. Kohou has expressed excitement about playing alongside someone as seasoned and intelligent as Fitzpatrick. "Minkah brings so much to the table, and we're going to feed off each other," he said. That kind of chemistry could be the key to turning Miami's patched-up secondary into something dangerous, despite finishing ninth in the NFL in passing yards allowed last season. The Dolphins' defense still faces major uncertainty going into the 2025 season. Without the star power of Ramsey and Holland, critics are already lowering expectations for the unit, but Kohou isn't having any of that. With 47 games and 38 starts under his belt, he has more experience than most give him credit for. His challenge now is to use that experience not just to improve his own game, but to elevate those around him. He's working harder than ever, studying film, tweaking his technique, and challenging his teammates to match his energy. In a way, Kohou is becoming the heart of this defense, its emotional engine. And most vocal believer, Kohou's rise represents something much bigger than one-man story. It's a symbol of the Dolphins' culture under head coach Mike McDaniel, a team that values toughness, resilience, and hunger over hype. In today's NFL, where flashy signings and big-name players dominate the headlines, the Dolphins are betting on something different. They're betting on guys like Kohou. And it's not just a gamble, they've seen the results. He's not the biggest, fastest, or most naturally gifted cornerback in the league, but he may very well be one of the most determined. That kind of mindset can't be taught. And in a league where the mental edge often separates the good from the great, Kohou's mentality gives the Dolphins a real shot to stay competitive. Even without the superstars. As training camp draws closer, the spotlight will only grow hotter for Kohou and his defensive backs. Every practice rep will be dissected. Every preseason snap will be a test. And while many will doubt whether this group can hold up against elite quarterbacks, Kohou isn't worried. He believes in the guys next to him. He believes in the work they're putting in. And most of all, he believes that respect is earned, not given. "We're going to make people learn our names," he said with a smirk. That kind of swagger is contagious, especially on defense. If the Dolphins' secondary can follow Kohou's lead, keep grinding, and play with the same chip on the shoulder mentality that got them this far, there's no telling how high they can climb in 20-5. It's rare to see an undrafted player become the cornerstone of an NFL defense, but Kohou is defying all odds. His leadership, humility, and work ethic are becoming the blueprint for the Dolphins' next generation. With veterans still unsigned and rookies unproven, he's the bridge between what was and what could be. And if Miami's secondary surprises people this year, don't be surprised if it's because of Kohou's steady hand and relentless voice. The message he's sending to the coaching staff is loud and clear: I've got this. He's not asking for help, he's offering it. In the unpredictable, high-pressure world of the NFL, that kind of ownership is everything. The Dolphins may have lost some stars, but if you ask Kohou, they've gained something even more valuable: a leader who believes, works, and fights like his legacy depends on it, because it just might. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments, what's your take on the Fins this week? The NFL world is buzzing with whispers, and if what's being talked about behind closed doors turns out to be true, the Miami Dolphins might have just pulled off one of the boldest moves in recent memory. Sources close to the situation hint that the Dolphins have brought in none other than Derrick Henry, the king himself, in a stunning shift that's shaking up the AFC landscape. But this wasn't a fairy tale signing, according to the rumor mill. This acquisition came at a steep cost to major Dolphin stars, have reportedly been sacrificed in the deal. While official confirmation remains elusive, the chatter among insiders and beat reporters is growing louder by the hour. What started as whispers is now echoing through every sports podcast, radio segment, and locker room. Could Miami have just pushed all their chips to the center of the table for a Super Bowl or bust season? Derrick Henry's arrival in South Beach. If this actually materializes as more than just a headline-grabbing trade, it's a philosophical shift in how the Dolphins plan to play football. This is a team that's been living by the explosive speed of Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. But if the rumors are accurate, it seems like Miami is now betting on bruising power, time of possession domination, and cold-blooded playoff football. The idea of pairing Henry's punishing running style with the Dolphins' high-octane offense sounds almost like science fiction, but the implications go even deeper. To get Henry, who is still one of the league's most feared rushers despite being on the wrong side of 30, Miami had to give something valuable in return. Word around the league is that this deal cost them not just one, but two cornerstone players. That's not just bold, it's downright shocking. So, who exactly did the Dolphins let go to make room for the king? While names haven't been officially confirmed, there's a strong belief that one of the players moved was a key piece of their defensive core, possibly cornerback Xavier Howard. His cap hit and age made him a logical candidate, but his leadership and playmaking ability will be sorely missed. The other player, speculation points toward one of their offensive weapons, and the name most often whispered is none other than Jalen Waddle. Now, let's be clear, nothing is official, but insiders are saying Waddle was included as part of a high-stakes gamble to get Henry and rebalance the team's financials. If true, that's a shocking move, trading one of the league's most electric young receivers for an aging but dominant running back. It's the kind of gamble that can either make a GM look like a genius or cost him his job. Let's not pretend that Derrick Henry isn't a monster between the tackles. Despite the Titans' struggles last season, Henry still rushed for over 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. He's a freight train once he hits the second level, and defenders know it. Adding that kind of weapon to a Dolphins offense already feared for its speed could create an entirely new kind of threat, one that's both explosive and physically punishing. Imagine the dilemma for defenses: stack the box and get torched over the top by Tyreek. Play soft and let Henry wear you down all game long. The strategic possibilities are endless. But it all hinges on Henry staying healthy and producing at elite levels. After all, Miami just potentially traded away their future for what could be a 1 or 2 year window. It's a classic case of high risk, high reward. This isn't just about winning games, it's about winning it all. From the front office's perspective, this could be viewed as the ultimate win-now move. Head coach Mike McDaniel has built his reputation on innovation and adaptability. Could this be the next phase of his master plan? Henry gives the Dolphins something they lacked in 2024: a short yardage hammer, a closer in the fourth quarter, and a leader with deep playoff experience. Miami's biggest criticism last season was their inability to grind out games when the deep shots weren't working. Henry solves that problem in theory. But what about the locker room dynamics? Waddle and Howard were not just stars. They were beloved teammates. That kind of turnover can create ripple effects that analytics won't capture. Chemistry, trust, and culture are delicate things in the NFL. Disrupting that balance, even for a legend like Derrick Henry, could backfire if the results don't come immediately, and in the playoffs, nothing less than a deep run will suffice. This also sends a very clear message to the rest of the AFC. Miami isn't here to play around anymore. The Chiefs, Bengals, Ravens, and Bills have all been perennial playoff fixtures, and the Dolphins have mostly been stuck on the outside looking in. But with this rumored move, they're telling the world they're done being a regular season story. They want to be contenders, not just participants. That kind of hunger can fuel a locker room, energize a fan base, and change the narrative around a franchise. But it also means the pressure is officially on. Derrick Henry didn't come to South Beach to rebuild, he came to win. And if Miami falls short, every decision made, especially parting with key stars, will be put under a microscope. The media storm that follows a failed gamble like this can be relentless. For now, though, Dolphins fans are dreaming big, and rightfully so. From a salary cap perspective, this move makes some sense if you're willing to overlook the emotional toll. Henry's deal isn't cheap, but neither were the outgoing contracts, with Waddle eligible for a massive extension and Howard's deal already among the highest for corners. Miami was walking a financial tightrope by flipping both for Henry. They may have reset their books while making an aggressive football decision, but again, it's a numbers game that only works if Henry delivers. If he slows down, if he gets hurt, or if the Dolphins' passing game stutters without Waddle, this could turn into a cautionary tale real fast. We've seen teams mortgage the future for a short-term window before. Think Rams, Saints, even the old Texans, and it rarely ends neatly. Still, when you've got a team this close, sometimes you've got to swing big. And Derrick Henry is about as big of a swing as it gets. It's also worth noting the psychological edge this could bring. Opposing defenses know what Henry represents: pain, punishment, and relentless pressure. He changes how teams prepare during the week. Defensive linemen know they're in for 30 carries of violence. Linebackers have to play downhill all game. That kind of presence can wear down opponents over a full season. For the Dolphins, this could be their trump card in December and January. While everyone else is banged up and slowing down, Henry thrives in the cold, ugly parts of football. Miami has always been viewed as a finesse team. This rumored move could change that identity completely. Suddenly, they're not just the flashy offense from South Florida, they're a dangerous, balanced juggernaut. That's what makes this But so fascinating. If true, it's more than a trade, it's a transformation. And those don't come cheap, in dollars, players, or expectations. But of course, there's always a flip side to the hype. Critics are already calling this rumored trade desperation disguised as ambition. After all, how often do we see teams send away young, ascending talent for aging veterans with high mileage? Waddle was just scratching the surface of his potential. He was one of the NFL's most exciting receivers, capable of changing a game in a blink. Howard, despite being older, was still a playmaker in a league that values elite corners more than ever. Trading both, especially if unaccompanied by draft capital or long-term contracts, feels like a gamble that only pays off with a Lombardi. And even then, was it worth it? Those questions will hang in the air until the results speak for themselves. This isn't just a move for 2025, it's a statement about how the Dolphins see themselves and how far they're willing to go to win. So, for now, this remains an unconfirmed but tantalizing possibility, a blockbuster shakeup that could redefine the AFC pecking order. The Dolphins are swinging for the fences, possibly trading away stability and potential for proven power and playoff pedigree. If this goes through, the league will be watching closely. Every run Henry makes, every pass to a throws without Waddle, every play Howard would have made, all of it will be scrutinized. But that's what comes with big moves, big pressure, big spotlight, and big stakes. Whether this turns into a stroke of genius or a cautionary tale is something we won't know until the season unfolds. But one thing's certain, if this rumor proves true, the Dolphins just became one of the most fascinating stories in the NFL. Buckle up, Miami fans, it's about to be one wild ride. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up!